What's up guys, it's Jason here. This is another nightly chat and chill. If you didn't see the last one, what this is, it's a long format video, not much editing at all, just rambling on about a few different topics. I'll list those topics right here. Let's jump right into it. The first thing I want to mention is my nerd store slash booth closure. This was a side hustle, and I'm still debating if I need to label it as a failed side hustle because there is a couple good things that have come from it. Now, I had a small booth located at Buckley Space Force Base in the Exchange. It's kind of like their little mini mall slash Walmart type of place. What was I selling? Action figures, collectibles, things I found from thrift stores, oddities, Pokemon cards, singles and packs, even graded PSA cards. Had a bunch of these there. Skateboards, just all kinds of nerd stuff, plushies. So when I initially opened the booth, I lived about a half hour away from it, and my goal was to go there probably like every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and just kind of feel it out. The management there was super flexible with the vendors. It was free to rent, so I didn't have any monthly rent to pay them. I only paid 12.5% in commission, and then the credit card reader that I was required to have had like a 2.2% fee on top of that. So very minimal fees. It doesn't get any cheaper than that. If you go rent a booth in even the slowest shopping mall, you're looking at several $100s a month. Even like a consignment shop where you're renting a small space, that'd be over $100 a month. So in my mind, it was a great deal. Now I opened up, I probably prepped for 2 months or so, just slowly buying things on eBay that were going to be sold in the store. I maybe spent about $1,500 on stuff that I wanted to sell that I didn't have previous. It's going good for a couple days, and then sales just kind of fell flat. Like the initial excitement about the booth being there had died down. All the employees that were in the Exchange, they had shopped and they bought everything they wanted, so sales were just falling flat. I was making like $30 a day, $12 a day. There was a day I worked 4 hours, I made $0. I was willing to do it for a little longer, but then when we purchased our new primary residence, it put me an hour away from this location. So it's an hour to get there, an hour to drive back. If I was going to do like 4 hours there, that's essentially my entire day. So I kind of slowly realized there is not enough foot traffic here. There's not enough volume of sales. I'm not making any money here. I wasn't really under any sort of contract. I told them I would sign a contract for a year, but then they told me I could essentially stop whenever I wanted to. So there wasn't any penalty for stopping early. I think I did like 4.5, 5 months. And during that time frame, I had some military commitments out of state as well. Now, the good thing is, all the stuff that didn't sell in the store, that went to my eBay store. So it's not like I was stuck with all this merchandise. But not a huge loss. I think after it was all said and done, I grossed like $1,300, and then I cleared maybe like $220. So aside from the foot traffic, another problem was my cost of goods were too high. Even buying large lots of action figures, for example, I could get the price down to like $3 or $6 an action figure. Some of those weren't worth more than $10, so the margins were still pretty thin. Now, the good thing that has come out of it though, my 2 vending machines are still at this Exchange. I got my Pokemon vending machine and also my Dinosaurs vs. Ninjas vending machines. Those combined make roughly between $40 and $90 net each month. Of course, it's mostly passive. I'm at that base once a month anyway, doing military stuff, so it's not like I'm driving out there just to restock them and collect quarters. So me being able to leave those 2 machines on site is a great deal. I do pay them 15% commission. But I feel like without having the booth first, they probably would have said no to the 2 vending machines. So ultimately, it's been a good experience. I've been focusing a lot of my attention to storage units. I've already purchased one this year. The goal is to purchase 12 total at least. I may end up doing more. It just depends the size of the units and if I can maybe get 2 small ones in a month instead of one. I wanted to mention one of my storage unit auctions that have already been pretty profitable. I found all these sports cards, mostly football. There might be 1,000 or 1,500 cards in here. And guys, there's basically no way to sell these. I'm looking up large lots on eBay that are unsearched, thinking somebody might enjoy like the risk of there being a rare card in there. Even those don't go for much. I tried sifting through a little bit and I got like all the holofoil shiny looking cards. I'll probably lot these together in an auction on eBay and then hopefully get 10 bucks. But it doesn't matter if any of this sells, honestly, because I'm already profitable on the unit. But it's getting kind of hard for me to just throw these in the trash because there's a chance there is something rare in here. I don't know anything about sports cards. It's always been my understanding that these were worthless. I know they did go up in value a little bit during COVID, or I say people got interested in them during COVID. I'm assuming these are all worthless. But I bring it up because I thought I could bring the whole box to a local card store here and just ask for $5 and that they could search through and do whatever. The only alternative is keeping this for a garage sale, which I really don't even want to do that. But I get to this card store, which was right next to Ace, and I had to go buy a couple things from Ace Hardware anyway, so I was like, I might as well try to see if they'll make me any offer. I go up and there's an eviction notice on this guy's door. Kind of funny, but also super sad. And I look through the window and like all the merchandise is still in there. And I was like, well, that's a little weird. I asked the lady in this comic book store, I'm like, hey, what happened to this card store over here? I'm trying not to say the name because I want to respect their privacy to a certain extent. But she's like, yeah, they were just never here. They signed a lease saying they would be here on certain days. And when you don't show up, you're actually in violation of the lease. So the landlord was telling them to either be here or they're going to get evicted. And I guess over enough times, like enough months, they finally are getting evicted. But it just kind of makes me wonder, like if that guy was making money in this card store, he probably would have been there. And then I looked up Google reviews to see kind of when they closed because I was waiting for a pizza to get made, so I got curious. And dating back like the last 8 months, people are like, oh, I just drove here X amount of minutes and it was closed. It's supposed to be open. They don't answer the phone. There are like 4 different complaints even just on like the first page of reviews about how the store was never open. So I got a feeling that they weren't making any money and they just kind of said screw it, which is totally understandable. But if you have a lease and you have rent, it's kind of like, I don't know, you're kind of screwed. But I got a feeling the whole collectibles market is just going downhill. It doesn't seem like there's enough end users out there. Everyone that has collectibles in hand, like they're not the end user. They're just holding it as an investment. They purchased in a large lot. They're trying to get rid of it. Like who's really out there buying new packs of sports cards as a collector? Or who's going to a card store to find Terry Glenn of the Patriots? Like who's going to go seek out this card and make a drive? Like you can find all this stuff on eBay. And it kind of made me wonder, that's the power of eBay. It's such a strong site. I can shop for anything I want from my desktop, from my phone. I'm not driving anywhere and risk them being closed. I'm not looking at inflated prices. The sellers on eBay are competing against one another, so the consumer is winning. They're driving the price down to zero on every single collectible across the spectrum. Like it's totally bizarre. The market for collectibles, I think, is down. I think COVID is partially to blame. I remember being in Target at the height of COVID and looking around in their little collectible section where they sell Funko Pops and other like high quality collectibles. There's a little aisle in electronics. I don't know if you guys have it in your stores too, but they would have this sign that says one per person. We check at the register. And it was like super strict with who was buying what. I guess everyone got caught up in this craze of selling collectibles, and people would just do retail arbitrage where they go to Target, buy everything, and then make a few dollars on each item. That has definitely gone away now because I was in Walmart and they have all these collectibles everywhere. There's like a high quality toy aisle by itself. There's collectibles in electronics, collectibles by video games. There's all these end caps, like they're all on sale. Nobody wants them. The shelves are completely stocked. So that craze of like just buying up collectibles because they're collectibles, I think that's a thing of the past now. I think buying storage units like I have been over the last year and a half, it's got me really thinking differently about stuff, the value of stuff, the sentimental value people place on stuff. After buying storage units, I've like looked around my game room multiple times. I'm getting rid of stuff that for no reason at all I thought had sentimental value just because there was like a tiny memory attached to it 10 or 15 years ago, where really it doesn't matter. Like I don't want to be left towards the end of my life with a storage unit filled with junk collectibles that honestly didn't really have any sort of meaning. This Krusty the Clown, for example, I bought this when it was new. It says 2000. I probably bought it in like 2001. And this was at a time when Simpsons really didn't have a lot of action figures, so this Playmates line was pretty new and it was exciting to get Simpsons figures brand new right in Toys R Us. Just because I bought this like 23 years ago doesn't mean it has value. If you look this up, it's maybe like an $8 toy. And just because it's from my childhood doesn't necessarily mean it's worth any more to me. I just happen to still have it for now. Next up, I want to complain about dumb eBay buyers and people trying to get stuff on eBay for next to nothing. I have like 190 something listings on eBay right now. I have a very small amount that I'll accept a best offer on, so they either have to purchase for the price shown or they can watch the item and then wait for me to send them an offer, which I do pretty often. But I don't take offers from people. They send me direct messages asking me to take a lower price. I usually always say no. Here's one example of that. I got this vintage Rolls-Royce convertible decanter holder. It just holds like 2 liquor bottles. He says, I must admit this piece is pretty rough. I would do a buy it now for $17. Thank you for considering. This thing weighs like 5 pounds. I told him I appreciate the offer. It's going to cost me probably $14 to ship. If you want to do $40, I'll be agreeable. He said max I can do is $27. I said, okay, thanks for reaching out. I still have that. It hasn't sold yet, but that particular unit is profitable. So if a unit that I've already made a bunch of money on still has items in my eBay store, I'm kind of less likely to sell them for a lower price depending on the size. This I am pretty motivated to sell actually. He didn't want it for the price I have. Next up is this reversible orange vest. Would you do for $14? I said it's gonna cost me probably $10.50 to ship and another $2 in fees. So he didn't respond to that. It's only $20. I have these 2 boxing strike pads listed for $60. A guy sends me a message. He says $30. I said no, sorry. Best offer isn't an option for this listing. He said they look very worn. Let me know if you'll take $40. I didn't respond to that, and I still have those as well. I had a Game Boy Advance listed for $65. A guy sends me a message. He says $50. I said I'm not considering offers. Best offer is not an option on this listing. He said, okay, thanks for responding. I don't know why they try. Do they just browse through these all day and see who they can negotiate with? I guess I can't blame them for trying. I had Quirk listed for the Nintendo Game Boy for $14. Somebody said, hi, will you take $5? I said, sadly, no. It's going to cost me $4.33 to ship. Why would I take $5? I would clear next to nothing on that. My daughter wants to play Yoshi's Crafted World, so this is going to be about where I end the video. I just want to leave you guys with this. I had some yarn listed and a bunch of it sold. Someone said, is there any chance I could purchase the Karen Christmas green and red skeins only? I said, no, sorry, the lot is already very cheap. It isn't worth my time to break it up and list another lot. And that would did end up selling for, I think, 25. Crazy people, they want stuff for next to nothing. Hope you guys enjoyed this nightly chat and chill. I'm going to be doing this more in the future whenever I have semi-interesting stuff to talk about. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up button on the way out. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Do you say bye to the video camera?
Yes.
And now we can play Yoshi?
Yes.
I made a mistake.